Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we're going to be visiting episode 17 of Overcoming Cancer and Other Obstacles. If you didn't know, I was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma on October 15th of 2024, and I'm documenting my journey, my recovery, and just overcoming this. If you haven't listened to any of these episodes, I encourage you to go back to episode 1 of this series so that you can get caught up. Anyways, this is an update. I have not done an episode in a while. It's been more than a week, I think, since I've done the last episode, and mostly it's just because the oil, the cannabis oil that I'm on, it really takes a lot of energy and putting a lot of time into a lot of different things, including moving my business and all these things. So just taking the time to record these episodes has been a little more difficult than it has been in the past. So getting a lot of people that are reaching out and saying, well, what's up? Like, there's going to be a change every time somebody asks. And I recognize that, if I don't talk to somebody for a week or a month or some period of time, that it's natural to want to know these questions or the answer to these questions. And that's part of the frustrating element of this process is the fact that, things don't operate on your time. They don't operate on my time. They operate, I don't know, I guess on God's time. And doesn't make things easier, that's for sure. So for everybody who I haven't talked to in a while, I'm trying not to be short with people that ask me the same old questions, because if you remember, the reason I'm doing this whole thing on a podcast is so that I don't have to say the same things over and over 10,000 times and not being an ass about it. I'm just trying to be practical, and there's no easy way to solve it, because I know people care and they want to know, and there's no way to know unless you ask, unless you're actually paying attention to this podcast, which, some people will. Went to the doctor. It's been, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks ago, and they ordered some tests, and I have yet to hear from the doctor. I had the blood test done probably 3-4 weeks ago now. I have yet to hear from anybody. I did receive a bill in the mail from the last doctor visit when I went to UCI, the potential surgeon for this, and I got charged my cost. It looks like over $1,000 just for this doctor visit, and they stuck a camera down my nose to look at my tonsils and to see this cancer, and they charged me $700 for that. It took about a minute and a half, and literally they just stuck this little tube down my nose and then pulled it out, put it down the other side, and boom, there's $700 your cost. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is because, with all the different possibilities of things to solve this problem, they all cost money. They all take time. They all are not guaranteed to work. They all could work. And that's where, a lot of the challenge comes here. Anytime I go near a doctor, it's costing me a ton of money, even with the insurance. I've got to get taxes dealt with and all these other things that are not your problem, but they are mine. And in order to, be able to make the best choices, there's got to be resources available. So for anybody who's not, financially situated or poor enough that you got a decent insurance, you fall into this sort of black hole area where you better figure your shit out. And, that's a big reason why we're launching the Willow Springs Wellness and working on the healing hubs through Gardens of Hope and all the other things. Because frankly, I got to figure if I'm in this spot, I don't know how many people are. And so that's one piece of the puzzle. I now have to go back and play detective and try to figure out what's the next step with this doctor. I got to reach out to him. I got to figure out how to pay him. And, again, the ball ends up in my court if I don't uh, stay very proactive and stay on, always asking people what's going on, what's the next step, what is, just get dropped. You get left, you fall through the cracks. Since this time, I think I mentioned it the last time, my cousin and I were considering getting involved with the EBU technology of um, ozone therapy. And so we did have a conversation with the manufacturer of a company with a representative of a company that manufactures these machines. And it looks pretty good. It looks like we may go forward, but again, it's expensive and we've got to figure out how to afford it and make it work. The idea is, we've got to get somebody trained to use the equipment so that we have access to it ourselves. And then we need to be able to make it available so that enough people can access it where we can pay for the cost of the machine. So we're working on it, figuring it out. I've had not as many people ask me how I'm feeling. I think some people heard that episode that I talked about it, and when they ask me at it, I think it's half in jest, which is cool. I got no problem with that. I feel great still, feel amazing. And that's never been the problem. I had one doctor, actually, he was on a guest on my show most recently, reach out with a thought. And he said, what if we were to take some of that cannabis oil and inject it right underneath the skin at the site? And he believes that there's a move. And of course, he says, this is dangerous and uncharted territory, and who knows what'll happen. But he's willing to do it himself, even just to kind of prove it. And I said, well, I'm considering the notion, but the oil's thick. You got to warm it before you can even get it in through a needle, and there's a lot of things to consider. But I am considering, injecting just under the skin some oil right in the area where I'm dealing with this. As I told you, I made up a special oil that's got my anointing oil and nanoparticle THC as well as uh, black seed oil and flaxseed oil. And I've been dripping that directly in the back of my throat where the culprit is. And I really feel like it's doing something. And I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, looks like the swelling's going down. It looks like your lump's gone down. But I look at it and frankly, I don't think if it's gone down, it hasn't gone down much. That's for sure. And maybe it has. I'm not looking at it, I feel it every single day. I feel like it's changed some. It's changed its shape a little bit. And I feel actually like it's struggling against me. I had a dream a few days ago that I was eating cupcakes, and I think that that's kind of symbolic of, the last throes of something that's trying to get at you, and where it's going to do, it's going to get in your mind. And I remember when I quit tobacco many years ago, some of the biggest struggles I had were in my dreams, and I would have a dream that, I stuff in my face full of chewing tobacco, and then I'd wake up and be in a sweat and be all grateful that it didn't happen. And it was kind of a little bit like that. It was only one time that I can remember, and it wasn't wildly grotesque like some of my tobacco dreams were, but I thought that that was kind of a good indicator. Recently, actually, my daughter and my wife both gave me the idea, and I'm going to do this today. We have this miracle stream in our backyard, and we have water flowing through our property in Southern California, and I believe that water's miraculous, and I believe it's got healing powers. And so I'm gonna collect some water. We're gonna boil it, then I'm gonna drink it through a straw, and I'm gonna also use it to make some of the next batch of lotion that I make. Um, and who knows, maybe that'll be a piece of it. When I started talking about the Ebu machine, of course, I have another doctor friend who started talking about a hydrogen machine, and I'm just like, God dang it. No matter what I decide to do, no matter what I'm doing, somebody always tells me you got to do the other thing. And I think that's part of, the spiritual battle here is there are so many answers that could possibly help. And, does it make sense to do everything that you can do? Well, I don't know. I'm I'm, I'm doing everything that I think is going to help in the best way that I can. And it's a little disheartening that every time I come up with an idea, I get somebody else that tells me, "Hey, try this other thing." I've had, in the last few weeks, I've had multiple other herbs be mentioned, other compounds, formulas, procedures. Everybody wants me to do something different, and it's always going to be that way, and I get it. Uh, and I feel like my body's giving me the direction that I need, and I'm following what I believe. But, um, you know, this has just been a little bit of a difficult couple of weeks because I'm not getting the progress that I want to see, and I'm working really hard. And I know generally when you're accomplishing something difficult, you go through phases and you go through plateaus and you go through times where you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. And I realize this is just part of the cycle. And generally, I'm keeping a really good upbeat attitude. But, frankly, sometimes I want to see some results, and I want to see, feel like it's all coming out of my own heart and head, the reason why I feel good. Um, I really want to feel and want to see just the changes happening, and I believe they're happening. They are happening, but I just want to see it happen a little better, a little faster, and we'll see what happens. And just this morning, I received a message from somebody who had stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma, but previous to that had 2 bouts of leukemia. So it's not the same thing, and I don't believe that I'm anywhere near stage 4. And they talked about, natural solutions not working for them, but the type of cancer I have can be caused for multiple different reasons. And the reason that I have it is supposedly one of the more curable types. So we're finding out as we're going. I'm digging in to, crank this up yet one more notch of of focus and resolve and attitude and gratitude and just everything to make it work. A lot of prayer going on, a lot of kind of pretty much constant prayer. Began working on meditating. I've always struggled with that, and that's now coming up in my planner book every day to put at least a little bit of time in and just quiet that mind and try to get some guidance out of there. Working on getting back into the sauna too, all the time I've been spending, and a lot of people have been spending a lot more time with a lot more people working with Gardens of Hope and some of the other projects. And I have not found myself in the sauna in the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna get in there today and just try to keep on point. So with all these things that we're doing, I really believe I'm going to continue adding to them as I need to, and really grateful for all the support that I have and I'm getting, and some really amazing people have stepped up and have are stepping into my inner circle, and you know, I one by one, I have family members reach out, because you can tell where the word gets to them, and most people that I've known in my life that are supposed to be the close people in my life still have not even reached out, meaning they probably don't even know. And that's all good. It just verifies and clarifies that, truth is truth. Actions are truth. And what you do is the truth. And if you spend time with somebody, then you're probably their friend. And if you don't spend time with them, you're probably not, even if you think you are and say you are. So just remember, truths are truths and actions are actions. And I'm confident we're going to get through this, get to the other side. I'm really looking forward to sharing and showing, some noticeable shrinkage and some noticeable changes. So stay tuned. I will start to detail some of the specifics that I'm working on. I'm going to try to get back in and record an episode at least every couple of days, get back to it. So just thank you. I'm looking forward to 2025 being a very prosperous and having a huge breakthroughs with everything that we're working on. And so stay tuned for that. All right. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for being here.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.